And in this lesson, we're going to take a look at some of the AI photo filters that we can use to have some fun and create some really creative things. So let's see. So you can see here you've got a photo of just me there. I'm going to click remove background firstly. Just going to get Photoshop to do that. Now, it's done a great job, but it's a little bit messy there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring back some of myself there. I'm just going to make sure that the opacity is at 100. There you go, bring back some of my hair. There you go. I'm happy with that. I'm pretty much happy with the rest of the selection that it's made. So once I have that, what I'm going to do now is if I go to, and by the way, you don't have to remove the background. I just did it because of the one of the filters that I need later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the layer. I'm just going to call this transparent. And in this one, I'm going to remove the transparency. And this one, I'm going to flatten it. Where is it? Oh God, where have it? Oh. What have I done? Oh, sorry, I just want to flatten the image. There we go. And then this is, oh, I think I've flattened both of them by mistake. There we go, I just need to remove the background from the, oh, why has it applied it? There we are. And this one, I just want to flatten this one so that I keep the background on one. So I've got the background on one and I've got the transparency in the other. So with the transparent one, I'm just going to flatten this one as well actually. There we go. With the transparent one, I'm going to hide the other one. Transparent one, I'm going to click filter and neural filters. Now, there's a couple of neural filters that we haven't gone through that from earlier on. So obviously we've done the skin smoothing, smart portrait, and the makeup transfer. We haven't taken a look at the landscape one, which we'll take a look at in a second. It won't work so much for this image. The style transfer can work. So if we click on that, what this does is it basically takes an image and it tries to mimic that image's style and puts it on top of your current image. So I've just clicked on this mounting one here, and obviously you can see it tries to mimic very well. So let me see if I can, I think this is a Van Gogh field image. You can see here it tries to mimic the colors and the brushstroke, but it does keep the actual line a little bit more straight as it is, but you can take a little bit more. You can put the strength up, for example, and it's probably going to do a more impact on it, but for now I'm just going to go back to 20%. There we go. We can also add our own one. Now I'm not sure how this will work on, let's bring back our Rick and Morty image that we had earlier on. So let's click on that. Let's see how well it does with cartoons. I'm not expecting my face to be cartoonized, but maybe just the coloring and something like that might be, but I'm interested to see how that works. But it works great on things like paintings and photographs. Or any perhaps sketches like pencil line drawings. It works great on those, but interested to see what it will work with cartoons. See if it does anything really good. So here we go, almost done. And yeah, it looks horrible, but it's a great artistic thing. So you can actually maybe use that as an aesthetic and then develop that into something else, maybe like a sketch art or something. Let's turn that off. Harmonization, what this basically does here is it takes your layer, your picture, and if I put a reference picture, in fact I haven't done a reference picture, where is, let me go back to, let me put this Paris image in, just scale it. There we go. So I'm just going to put that here. Now, obviously, the proportion and perspective is completely wrong here. It's not what this is by all means. So if I just push myself down here, what I just want to show you really is how it will take the colors from one picture and try to apply it to your picture. Now you can see that the coloring is completely off here. So if I go to harmonization, click on, that's my reference layer, and then it's going to try and, you can see it's going to, what it's going to try and do is going to try and reference and mimic the image here, and we can continue to play about with some of the color options there. Maybe turn the cyan down, maybe add a little bit of a blue in there, and a little bit of purple in there as well. Saturation, I think not too much. There we go. So it tries to mimic the lighting conditions. It doesn't do a great job. I personally think all photo editing should be done in Lightroom, if possible. But you can see here that it's done kind of a reasonable job there, where it's a good start for me, and I can continue to manually add curves and lines and register. But these tutorials are not about photo editing in its truest form. It's about using some of the AI tools to see how far it can get us. And this kind of just goes back to where I said before, that AI doesn't fully replace your role here, right? You're just supposed to speed it up a little bit. So something would have taken me a little bit longer to figure out what the exposure is or the lighting is. It kind of gets me off on a running start. So that's what harmonize does. Now, color transfer basically takes, you can see here, it creatively transfers a color palette from one image to another. So let's say, for example, I want to select this purple. Actually, let me just clean up the layers here for a second. I'm just going to remove Paris and bring back my background image. Click on filter, neural filters. So at least we have something a bit more to reference. And so where are we? Color theory, color transfer. Let's select the blue one. So you can see it just literally plasters the colors of that picture on there. So if I click on this one, it does that. This one's going to be more yellow. This one's going to be more green. So if you do have maybe some brand colors that you want to always make sure that the images follow, then this will be a very good I guess way of doing it. So this one's going to be more just saturated black and white. This one's done nothing, and same with that one. I want to see if we can add our own image again. Let's see if we add JPEG. Let's add the Mona Lisa in there. So you can see it's kind of matched the Mona Lisa colors for me. And you can see here, if I want, I can preserve the light, the brightness bits, but otherwise I can just change that. And that's what color transfer does. There is one more that I want to do, but for that one, I'm going to have to open the landscape image here. And what we're going to try and do here, if we go to neural filters again, this time I'm going to show you the landscape mixer. If I click on this, now what it's going to do is it's going to take the image and ideally try to change its seasons. So if I select a winter image, for example, let's see, put that where there it goes. Give it a second. And you can see here with this kind of desert look, it tries to give it a kind of a desert feel, right? If I was to click on, let's say, a cold environment, it doesn't do much because obviously blue, it's already worked in there. So if I go for, let's go for this extreme sunset violet sky. And you can see here, it's tried very well to mimic the skies at the top there as well, which is quite nice. But ultimately, the best thing about this is if you use the generative tool, like I said, you can start adding things, and then you can also start mixing some of the seasons together. So that way that you can have a different, let's say you take a summer image, but you don't know what it looks like in winter, generative AI will help that for you. And you can see here, it's a bit of a desert image here. So really, Photoshop filters, very simple and straightforward. All of them are there on the list, but do make sure that you download them. There's actually one I forgot to try. Here you go. This one is the blur depth. Now what this does is you can change the depth of the blur, right? So you can see here now I'm focused more on the close range, which is this one, or if I want to change it and go, not for the focal distance, I beg your pardon, focal range. Push that up. That's the other way around, sorry. Push that all the way to the front. And what that does is it focuses on the background rather than the foreground. So again, if all your images is very sharp and you want to make that, have that depth of field, this is a perfect tool. But again, seriously, if you want to do any image editing, don't rely on Photoshop, go to Lightroom. And maybe let us know if you want to have some Lightroom tutorials, and if you're a photographer or an editor that way, happy to do that. But Lightroom is by far an amazing tool for editing your photos. But that's just a quick look there at the Photoshop filters that they have. Yeah, so I'll see you in the next one.